Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Hope everyone is doing well today. We are going live with Michali to answer a question that was asked via the AMAs. More of a conversation piece maybe, but definitely a good one. We're just going to wait for some of you to join. For Michali, of course. Michali, I see you. Yay. Thank you for joining, everyone that's joining. Okay, I'm just waiting for Michali to just pop up. Hi, Michali.
Hi.
How are ya?
Good. How are you
I'm
doing?
doing okay, thank God.
Nice
Happy
to see
Monday.
you. What?
Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Is there like a lag? I feel like there's not like amazing connection, but do you hear me?
I totally
Okay,
hear you.
amazing.
Yeah, I'm just gonna adjust the volume. Let me hang
Sure.
on.
Hello, 78899. Good morning. My Monday morning sunshine.
Monday morning sunshine. I would love to be like right now in Florida or California or
Yeah.
Phoenix, anywhere other than this freezing
Is it
cold
so
weather. But
freezing by you? By us, it's cold, but it's not like unbearable.
to me, if it's in the 30s or 40s, that's unbearable. So
It's
anything
not. I
less is
think
just like I
okay, but
can't.
today I think here it's like 50 today. I made that up, but it
Oh,
doesn't feel like.
really?
Yeah, I think so. But
Oh, well, it's going to be 67 degrees on
are you
Thursday, at
serious?
least in
I'm so wow,
Baltimore. Yeah. Is that
amazing.
crazy?
Crazy. Anyways, better
Um,
start because we both have a hard stop at 10:20 today.
I
So
know. I
it's not because
know.
we
Good
don't
luck
care
to both of
about this
us.
conversation. Just everyone should know this is a really important conversation. Last week we went like way over and we're going to try to keep our lives to like 15, 20 minutes just because I think that they're
Yeah,
most effective for like listeners, people that listen to it over, and also just for our schedule's sake. So you have the question up. Do you mind reading it?
I do. Yeah. So the question is, I feel like it's so cliche when people say to love yourself. How can I truly and genuinely love myself? What practical things can I do other than writing a list of things I love about me? How can I gain that self-confidence?
Mm-hmm.
I love this question
Mm-hmm.
because what I appreciate about it is the honesty. Like, and I say this about like, and I've said this here, like when it comes to body image, like the classic thing is like the affirmations or, like writing down the things or noticing things you like about your
Yeah.
body or whatever. And it's like kind of similar. It's, that we get
Mm-hmm.
this like generalized prescription for how to love ourselves. But I
Right.
think kind of like medicine, the ultimate best way of going about medicine is when it's customized. So I think that when it comes to self-love, body image, whatever it is, I think that the ultimate ideal way is it needs to be customized and tailored to who the person is.
Yeah.
Um, and and because I believe in that, it's going to be really hard for me to give like very specific advice to
Mm-hmm.
this person
Yeah.
because I don't know who they are. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. I would want to know a few things. One, what are the obstacles that get in the way of self-love specifically for this person?
Mm-hmm.
We can kind of do like like a Sormera Ase Tov,
Uh-huh.
approach where
Yeah.
it's like,
What
where
makes
it's
you
like,
hate
okay,
yourself?
yeah, yeah, exactly. It's like, what are the obstacles that get in the way of self-love? That's like the Sormera, right? And you can like work on those
Right.
things. And that's a great thing to work on in therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's like the Ase Tov,
Yeah.
and like this person saying like the Ase Tovs are like not. This is the Bisago girl me coming out.
I love it.
Go Bisago. The Ase Tov is like what this person's saying is not working for her.
Yeah.
So to me, it's an issue of being realistic and like really believing it. Like this person used the word genuinely, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's kind of like similar to like gratitude lists. It's like you can write, oh, I love that the sun is out. I love that I have eyes. I love that I can see. I love my family. I love this. I love that. I appreciate this. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
But like if you're not emotionally going to go through that experience
Mm-hmm.
of picturing the faces of the people that you loved
Right.
and just like having almost like a visceral experience of what you're writing down, then it's not going to create the transformation and the uplift that you're looking
Mm-hmm.
for. So I think that when you think about what it is I love about myself, right? Whether it's making the list or whatever, it's really about going through the emotional experience in your head, in your heart, in your soul,
Yeah.
of tapping into this appreciation for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and not because general I guess I'm nice.
Right.
Yeah, I do cuss at
Right.
sometimes. you know, I let someone use my parking spot, you know, for those of you who live in New York, and New Jersey. But you know, that's like so general and you're not going to emotionally connect to that. But it's like, it's more like, you know what? I really did not want to make myself breakfast today, and I did. And it was such a pain in the neck, and I did not like it. And I did it anyway, and it was like a nourishing breakfast. And I'm engaging in that act of love for myself. And this is me telling myself that I'm willing to nurture myself because I love myself. So, and that gets me to my last point, and then I was gonna give you the mic. Is engaging in actions that reinforce this idea of self-love. And I want to be very clear, you don't have to be in love with yourself every single second, right? Like you can appreciate yourself, and you need to speak kindly to yourself, like i.e. not abusively and not toxically, but you don't have to be absolutely in love with yourself every second of every day. But I think that when you're engaging in actions that are fun and feel good, and also actions that are not fun and don't feel good, but they're all around this theme of loving myself and taking care of myself, that can also like reinforce this, like, oh, I'm with me, you know, and make it easier to have compassion for yourself and things like that.
Yeah, that totally brought up what I was going to say, which is like, I think there's this merging of all these terms like self-love, self-acceptance, self-worth, self-confidence. And I think the questioner even brought up the word self-confidence in the question. And I was happy with that, because these things are so different. And when we mush them together, we get very confused. I think that, like, you know, self-confidence is like something totally different than self-love. And self-acceptance is totally different than self-love. And like you said, we don't have to love ourselves every second of the day. And most human beings do not. Most healthy, actually, very well-adjusted human beings do not. I think there's like this foundation of self-respect and self-worth that we all want to have. And that can be like vary. And then self-love is like, you know, more of like that. The same way you don't love somebody every second of the day, they can really irk you, but you still love them.
Yeah.
There's still that
There's this container of love.
Correct. So I think that like that was like another piece I wanted to differentiate. The way I like to think of self-love is that it comes from self-respect. I've heard this somewhere. I can't remember where, but it really like resonated with me. It comes from self-respect, and self-respect comes from when we do things that were difficult. When we keep our words to ourselves, like if we say we're going to do something, if I say I'm going to, you know, go outside for 5 minutes every day, and I do that, that builds my self-respect.
And that's integrity, right? Where we keep the promises we make to ourselves.
Exactly. It's keeping your word to yourself. Exactly. Keeping your word to yourself builds self-respect. The same way that keeping your word to other people will create mutual respect. They will respect you because you keep your word. When we keep our words to ourselves, we create self-respect. And like self-respect is really the core of self-love. When you respect yourself, that's like enough love. It doesn't mean I'm in love with myself. It's I respect myself. I'm worthy. So like,
you're not going to every second, you know?
Correct.
No one's walking around like
Exactly. That would be like socially awkward. And
very awkward.
Exactly. So like that's how I like to think about it. And then like self-confidence, I think, is when we do things. I've heard this, I think, from Mel Robbins actually. Self-confidence is the willingness to try. The confidence comes from the willingness to try. There's no such thing as like an attaining confidence. It's your willingness to try creates your confidence. So anything that you're going to do that's out of your comfort zone is going to build self-confidence, which is also going to contribute to like self-respect, which is going to contribute to self-love. So it's like kind of, this, you know, and then like, I love what you said, like if it doesn't work for you to write down the things that you love about yourself or to repeat them in your mind, you don't have to do it. But I think that it's not working for you because like what you said, it's not genuine. You know, it's just like, oh, I'm kind. Oh, I'm, you know, responsible, but you're not genuinely tapping into those ideas of like, I'm kind, that actually, you know, did something that was difficult for me for somebody else.
It has to be emotionally resonant. Like it has to be emotionally resonant.
Correct. So I think like piecing apart these words and knowing that self-love doesn't mean you're in love with yourself and that you love every part about yourself, but it means that you actually have self-respect and that you can actually identify the things that really are genuinely, you feel good about yourself. And they don't have to be these like, it doesn't even have to be that you're kind. Maybe you're selfish. Like that's okay too. Like, I mean, like you could work on that. You cannot work on that, but maybe you love that you love to learn. Maybe you love that you are, I'm drawing a blank, but like, it could be like you're adventurous and you love that about yourself. you're a risk taker and you love that about yourself. Like, they don't have to be things that other people would think are great qualities necessarily, but there's something that you appreciate about yourself that you own because it's you. It's how you.
Yeah. And I think like at the core, right, we can have this, I think that there can be this like constant, right, of like, if you actually, like, I think like, I love that you started like defining these terms, because I think that that's like a really important place to start, is like just like understanding what these terms are. And I'm going to just borrow like a Jewish concept of like ahava, right? The word that we use for love, right? We always say the shoresh is have, to give, right? And so the premise is that when you give to someone or something, then you start to develop these feelings of love and care for them. And so I think that can go to ourselves too, right? Which is like, I can give to myself, not in a selfish way, but in a healthy, nurturing, nourishing way. And then I develop more and more this feeling of love. And I think that it doesn't have to be like that. We grow up with these concepts of like in love and like lovey-dovey and mushy and whatever, and we have to be happy with ourselves. And I disagree with that whole idea of like, we don't have to be happy with ourselves 24/7, but I do think that there has to be always that foundation of like, I'm gonna care for myself, you know, like, and
Self-respect.
I think, yeah. And then the last thing is like, when it comes to doing things out of our comfort zone, I just like want to make a distinction, because I get this question a lot, and this can totally be another live with us, you know, because it comes up a lot. Like we're taught like, follow your gut. And so if something feels out of our comfort zone, then it's almost like we're acting against our gut. Our gut's like, no, I don't want to say, you know, do that speech or whatever, right? And that's what our gut's saying. And so I think that what you're referring to is like, no, but if it's like good for you to do, and it's going to make you grow and evolve as a person, then you can acknowledge your gut feeling, but you're going to do it anyway because it's good for you. Whereas like, if your intuition is telling you something's bad for you, then ultimately you need to do what's good for you, and then you're going to follow your intuition. Correct. Right? Like, I think a lot of times there's confusion about that.
Correct. No, for sure. You have to like, you know, like listening to your gut. And I did actually a live with SD Marcus about that, and she like dug very deep into like the whole gut situation. Intuition was really like, it was so like mind blowing for me, and I'm pretty like knowledgeable in these areas, and I'm like, I really like highly recommend that listen. But yeah, totally, like your gut is not necessarily like, you have to understand your gut before you like, you could just like listen to your gut. So no, I love that. And then I think like the other piece that I think people mix up where are we with time? We have like a minute, 2 minutes.
You've got a whole minute, Fay. You're good.
Like self-acceptance, I think is the piece that people also like mix with self-love, and I just want to like differentiate that too. And again, I don't have these like perfect definitions. You can probably ask ChatGPT for a better definition, but basically it's, you know, accepting where you are. So like, even if you don't feel that like immense love or as strong self-respect as you'd like to, but there's that acceptance piece that you can be where your feet are, be where you are physically, emotionally, psychologically, physiologically, and also be, you know, working on yourself. Or you can be where you are and say, I'm accepting this fully, and I'm not going to even work on A, B, C, and D because it doesn't serve me, or I can't right now. Right. So like, that's a separate thing. So yeah, these conversations can go on, but I hope that we kind of gave some clarity to the seeker. I think we did it some sort of justice.
Yes, I think it was a really great start of a topic that can have many, many conversations, right?
Exactly. Well, we're good with timing. We're going to keep it.
Thank you.
Good one. Take care. Thanks everyone for joining.
See you next week.
Yes. Looking forward.
Bye.
Bye.